What is up, guys? A Thursday evening here in the UK. It's dark, it's wet, it's windy. Winter is still upon us, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Good fight this weekend between Lee Wood and Maurizio Lara. That is for the WBA featherweight title. Honestly, one of the fights I'm looking forward to most on the schedule. To be honest, I think it's a really good fight. I see that fight ending with inside the distance. I think somebody's getting knocked out. I believe both guys can get knocked out. But honestly, I just trust Maurizio Lara more in that sort of firefight, which I think that's the sort of fight it becomes. It's going to be a battle of attrition. Who wants it more? Who's tougher? Who can take more? And who can dish out more? And ultimately, I just trust Lara a little bit more in that regard. I think he'll break Lee Wood in this fight, but Lee Wood is dangerous. Lee Wood is dangerous. Puncher, good straight puncher, accurate boxer puncher style, can counter. Lara leaves a lot of openings. He could walk onto a big shot, and that's why this fight's so exciting to me. Big fucking fight, big fight. What's up, Foul man? How you doing? Carlos Mendoza, salute. Yo, I just got done watching the United game, bro. Great game of football, man. Manchester United in the new camp, 2-2 draw with Barcelona. That's a good result. It's a good result. I thought we played really well. Ten Hag, man. If we get Qatari owners, it's over. It's over for the Premier League. It's over. If we get Qatari owners, rivals are going to be fucking shook. But I digress. I think Lara wins this, but would Lee hurt him? Sorry, I think Lara has to win. Sorry, I think Lara has this, but would Lee? Yeah, I think Lee could hurt him, no doubt. I think Lee could hurt him. Facts, Brandon. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm looking forward to it, man. That's why I'm looking forward to it. Both guys have fun styles. Both guys carry power. Neither guy, in my opinion, is going to take a backward step. It's going to be a great fight. I think Lee Wood, he'll try and maintain range, get behind his jab and land hard, straight punches. Whereas Lara, he's going to be trying to close that distance, collapse that pocket, work at mid-range and the inside. But neither guy's going to take a backward step in this one. Neither guy's going to take a backward step. I just, sometimes when you just get a feeling, I just get a feeling that Lara is more durable, to be honest. Yo, what's good, J7? How you doing, bruv? How you doing? Yeah, Lara is my favorite as well. I make him favorite in this fight. No worries. Evening, Dell. Hopefully you're good. I am. I'm not too bad. A couple of great weekends here. Lara versus Wood. I've been looking forward to for a while. Me too. I'm picking Wood. Interesting. And then next week we have Matias versus Ponce. Yeah, the next 2 weeks we have two great fights. If you like violence, if that's what you want from boxing, the next 2 weekends should deliver. They should deliver. Not many talk, but again, the shame is not many people are talking about these fights. That's what I've noticed. I need to get around to making a prediction video for Matias versus Ponce. If I have time, I'll make a video for it. Because that fight deserves one. Yeah, he needs to, I think, Foul Man. I think he needs to be honest. If he doesn't give Lara anything to think about early on, he may be in trouble. But who knows? Great fight, backing Lee Wood to win, stoppage, 6 to 8 rounds. It's funny, I've got Lara in a similar area. I said Lara, I think 7-9. It's a great fight, though. Yeah, Lara. I like Lara, man. I like the energy he brings to the table. I like the energy. He's there to fight. That's what I want from boxers. Obviously, I want these guys to be willing to fight, guys. Take risks, take hard fights. Lara seems to be that way inclined, so I like him. And same goes for Lee Wood. I was critical of him after the Conlon fight because it appeared that he tried to duck this fight, but fair play to him. He's taken it, so I can't criticize Lee Wood. He could have easily fought some scrub in his first title defense. So credit to Lee Wood. Lara's up there, yeah. In terms of like pure entertainment, Lara, from what I've seen, is up there. Subriel Matias is up there. Navarrete is up there as well. We have some good fun fighters. We have some fun fighters. I'm going with Wood, dogging it out and taking Lara out late, but it's a tremendous fight. I agree, bro. It's a great fight. What's up, H? How you doing? Yeah, Oshaki Foster, great win over Vargas. I definitely underrated Foster. Does he beat Hector Garcia, Navarrete, Valdez, and Cordina? Cordina, I know he got a great knockout in his last fight. I'm just still not sold on him. I'm not sold. So hard to say with Cordina. I think he beats Hector Garcia. Navarrete would be a hard fight, as would Valdez. But I'd pick him to beat Hector Garcia. Unsure on Cordina. I might make Navarrete and Valdez favourites. What's up, Cash? How you doing, bro? I didn't even see that fight, bro. I can't lie. Yeah, what's up, Nordic? How you doing, bro? I just think Lara's going to be too tough. I just see that fight becoming a firefight, and it's gonna come down to durability. And I just happen to believe Lara has more durability than Wood. Might be wrong. I'm praying Wood wins only because I want to see Wood versus Warrington possibly at a neutral stadium in the summer. If that does happen, if Wood wins, I think it needs to be at Nottingham, to be honest. At this point in time, Josh Warrington, in my opinion, he doesn't have that right. If he's going to get that fight, he should fight in Nottingham. But regardless, it appears that both guys, Lara and Wood, both want Warrington next. So we could get a couple of great fights out of this. You know, I'm down. Honestly, I'm down on Josh Warrington at the moment. But I still like watching him fight. He can still deliver some good fights. So Wood versus Warrington, I'm all for it. Lara Warrington 3, I'm all for it. Yeah, I've got 7-9 for Lara. Did you see the face-off? That face-off was cold. Can't lie. That face-off was cold. Both guys confident, but like not super arrogant. I quite liked it, man. Yeah, he looked good in his last fight, Cordina. Against Tagawa. He knocked him out in a round. He looked good. Oh, you've got points, Nordic. That surprises me. I just can't see this one going the distance. I really can't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't be shocked if this is like a fight of the year contender. It's one of a few fights I'm looking forward to. So I'm hoping it delivers. It would suit me if it's in Notts. I've got family and friends out there still. Yeah, that'd be a great fight to go to, bro. Wood versus Warrington in Nottingham would be lit. Because those Nottingham, obviously, Lee Wood's a Nottingham Forest fan. Josh Warrington's a Leeds fan. They're both going to bring their fans to that occasion. That'd be a great atmosphere. What's up, Bruce? How you doing? Yeah, he seems like a good guy, Lee Wood. He seems like a good dude. Mm, yeah, I agree. Navarrete at 130, he does look very vulnerable. And by the way, that Navarrete Liam Wilson fight, sorry, was great. That was a great fight. But I would make Oscar Valdez a favorite over Navarrete just in terms of power. I could see a similar fight to the Burchelt fight. To be honest with you, I could see a similar type of fight. Yeah, Gary Cully's a tall fucking lightweight. He's like 6 foot. He's a 6 foot lightweight. He's tall, he's rangy, carries power. His size alone makes him a very interesting prospect. His size alone makes him interesting. Yeah, that was a great fight. That was arguably, I think that might have been my favorite fight last year. I've just really struggled to make boxing content the last few weeks. I had a week where I think I uploaded every day, but like recently I've kind of struggled. There's not really been the fights, in my opinion, to really, you know, get excited about. But the next couple of weeks are good. The next couple of weeks are good. Again, if I get time, I'll do a prediction video for Matias versus Ponce because that's a great fight as well. But nobody's talking about it. It feels like these days, right? When it comes to the YTBC, people would rather talk about pay-per-view numbers, TV networks, this, that, and the other when it comes to boxing, rather than actually break down fights, talk about good up and coming fights. It's kind of killed my love for like YouTube boxing or the YouTube boxing scene. I can't lie. So I'm gonna have more fun with it. I've said this before. I know. I triggered a lot of people with my anti-DAZN videos. I had that on good authority as well. So we may do a bit more of that just for my own amusement. But I will still break down fights like I usually do. I just got to get it's the time. That's one thing. Finding the time, and also just the interest. You know. Now that Frank card is awful, Cash. That Frank Warren card is fucking trash. Honestly, I can't lie. That's what I'm saying, bruv. The YouTube boxing community now, all it is shilling for one network or another. That's really it. That's really it. It's sad really because the YTBC back in the day was fucking lit. It was good, but again, I have my suspicions on why that is, why it's turned the way it has. I'm convinced like big channels get paid by certain networks. I'm pretty convinced of that, but I don't know, man. It feels like to me, this is what it feels like to me, right? Not as an uploader, but as somebody I'm a boxing fan who does watch YouTube boxing channels still. It feels like to me, most channels now, they don't really speak for the boxing fan. It's more so that they speak for the industry, more so than the boxing fan. And it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre. Yo, big up to Lee. Salute Lee Talks Boxing. Check out his channel, by the way. Yeah, it was a sick goal. Sick goal, Larry. Senpai Leo. Would you fight in a Misfits YouTube card against two? If they paid me silly money, I would do it. Not gonna lie. If they paid me silly money, I would do it. I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up anything though, so I wouldn't fight somebody bigger than me or heavier than me. That's all I'll say. But I would do it if they offered me silly money. Especially in this day and age, you could do with all the money you can get. So off the top of my head, Lara versus Wood, great fight, no doubt, awesome fight. Aside from that, Cordina versus Rakhimov is interesting, but it's not something I would delay my plans for or like put off plans for. Good fight though. Aside from that, I mean, what else is there? What else is there? Aside from Lara versus Wood and Cordina versus Rakhimov, what is really on that schedule? To me, it's a whole load of nothing. It's a whole load of nothing. I don't personally watch Ade. He seems like a nice guy, but once you're in that position, naturally you are compromised to a certain degree. And to me, Ade is more of a surface level channel. I think he more so caters to casuals, to be honest. I might, Mr. Doc, I might have to steal that phrase. The boxing YouTube industrial complex. That's a great fucking. That's great. Yeah, serious journalistic coverage of boxing is a long dead thing, sadly. Yeah, and it's not just YouTube. You are right, Mr. Doc. You see these reporters now, man, and they are just pitiful, absolutely pitiful. I mean, who is the brightest in class when it comes to boxing journalism? Mike Coppinger, Dan Raphael. I mean, come on. God help us. If these are the guys telling us the truth, I mean, God help us. Yeah, PBC looks like they're done. I can't lie. PBC look like they're done. And again, I said this years ago about Al Heyman. The whole PBC thing when it first came along sounded great. Boxing on free TV, bloody, bloody, blah. It sounded great, right? Then you just analyze where that money was coming from. The Waddell & Reed investment group. It wasn't Al's own money. Then you saw how that money was being distributed, paying silly money for mismatches, right? Anybody with an ounce of common sense could see that shit was not good for boxing. It wasn't good for boxing fans. And eventually that shit would crash and burn. Now we have PBC barely putting on cards. Their fighters are super inactive. They don't give us the big fights. And it appears they're on the way out. I said this fucking years ago, right? Oh, and when you said something about Al Heyman back then, you're a hater. There's something motivating your dislike of Al Heyman. No, I just have a pair of fucking eyes and common sense. Anybody could have seen that shit was coming. And it's ironic as well because some of the same people, right, who were they were sucking Al Heyman's dick back then. Oh, free boxing. Oh, it's great for boxing fans. They have the same ones now who are now saying Al Heyman's a fucking cancer. Right? Same people. Now I'm talking shit about Eddie Hearn. Oh, you're an Eddie Hearn hater. Watch in 5 years' time, these guys will be on my same fucking page. They take 5 years to catch up. They take 5 years to catch up. Fuck these guys, honestly. This whole scene is shit, honestly. The whole scene is shit. I am buzzing for this fight, though. That is a positive, right? Lee Wood versus Lara. Somebody's getting knocked out. There's going to be blood. It's going to be violent. The atmosphere is going to be fucking electric. It's going to be a great fight. And that's what we need to focus on there. That's a great fucking fight. Yeah, Mike Coppinger, Dan Raphael. Yeah, exactly. Shills. Facts. Callum Smith versus Pavel Stepien. Awful. Patterson versus Jenkins. Awful. Joshua versus Bum Franklin. Bam versus Gonzalez. Who exactly? Apart from Wood, Lara, and Cordina, the zone schedule isn't great. Exactly. Although on Golden Boy side, we have got Ortiz versus Stanionis. That's a good fight. Credit where it's due. That is a good fight. But again, in like a 3 or 4 month period, it's not great. We got like fucking on that whole schedule, like 3 decent fights in 4 months. And what? I'm supposed to sit here and say, oh, that's a great card. That's a great card. Another one of my favorites, right, as well. Oh, You give Eddie Hearn all of his criticism. Why don't you say the same for Frank Warren and Ben Shalom? Well, by your own mouth, Eddie Hearn's got the biggest stable in boxing. He's got one of the biggest deals in boxing history. The $1 billion man, as he was once called. Biggest deal in boxing history, arguably. Biggest stable. The biggest stars. Yes, of course, you're going to hold him to a higher standard because he's got the most fighters and arguably the best stable. It's not rocket science. So what, do you expect me to hold Steve Goodwin to the same standard as Eddie Hearn? These people are ridiculous, honestly. We are often 5 years ahead of them on most things. Yeah, 5 years' time, bro. I swear to God, Nordic, 5 years' time, these guys will be saying the same thing about Eddie Hearn. They'll start to criticize Eddie Hearn and say this, that, and the other. 5 years later. Boxing, to me, boxing needs a reset. The purses have got out of control, and largely the purses in boxing, the reason as to why they've got so out of control is the influx of investor money, promoters playing with money that isn't theirs. PBC, for example, Waddle and Reed, Eddie Hearn, with his big DAZN windfall. This wasn't their money, right? They're still eating off the purses they pay their fighters, 10, 15%, whatever it is. They're still getting paid off these investments, and they don't have to risk their own capital on these shows. That's not good for boxing. That's not good for boxing fans, because we see certain fighters get paid silly money to fight absolute bums. Then they get used to those purses, and then they're not willing to fight riskier fights for a little bit more money. They want to be paid stupid amounts of money to take these hard fights. That's why they never happen. Again, I criticize Andrade more than most people. But if I'm Andrade, do I do anything different? If I get paid $1 million to fight a bum like Jason Quigley, why would I fight Janibek for 1.5 million? Why? In reality, Andrade is worth about 100 grand against Jason Quigley. That's what he's worth. That's what he's worth. So, listen, as a boxing fan, I blame the likes of Andrade for doing what they do. But if I was in their shoes, I'd probably do the same. Do you know what I mean? Beterbiev versus Bivol is never happening. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Usyk Fury is far more realistic. Beterbiev Bivol, I've resigned to it. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, Beterbiev's going to be well past it. It's not going to happen. Bivol's going to fight Buatsi next. Then he's going to fight Canelo. Beterbiev's going to fight Callum Smith. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Usyk Fury could happen. Usyk Fury could happen. Yeah, okay. I mean, who on earth honestly thinks anyone involved in boxing isn't criminal? Just look at all of their backgrounds. Bob, Law, Al, Music, Don, numbers. Exactly. Exactly, bro. I mean, look at when Lucas Brown fought in Chechnya against Ruslan Shagayev. Who put that fight on? Kadyrov, arguably a fucking dictator. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's boxing for you, though. Boxing needs a reset in regards to the finances. That's another thing, though. It always makes me laugh when I hear boxing fans. One of their reasonings for why boxing is apparently better than the UFC is that boxers get paid more. Number one, that doesn't affect us as fans, right? How much a fighter gets paid doesn't affect us as fans. Oh, boxers get paid more. Boxers get paid more. Well, UFC fans get the fights they want. And you get paid what you're worth in the UFC. The UFC is a business. They operate on making profits. It's not investor money. It's not like a startup fucking app. None of that shit. They're a real business. And if you generate silly money, you'll be paid accordingly. Like McGregor, he'd get paid a lot on the side of his pay-per-views. MMA, they don't underpay fighters. MMA just pay fighters what they're worth. That's the difference. They don't underpay fighters at all. I mean, McGregor's what? Looking close to being a billionaire. And yes, I know Proper 12 and the Mayweather fight, cool. But he made silly money in the UFC. People don't realize that. MMA just pay fighters what they're worth. Big up to Pin My Sniper. Salute. Exactly. Listen, as a fan, I criticize the guy. But again, if I was in that position, would I do anything different, really? I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, Kadyrov is hilarious, I can't lie. Did you see the interview he did with BBC Nordic? uh, I agree. I agree. Listen, pay just if you're a fighter in America and you can sell 1 million pay-per-view buys, fair enough. Pay that guy accordingly. But again, man, it's just got silly. That was a hilarious interview. And he just stood there like straight faced. He was like wearing a tracksuit. It's kind of just fucking funny. Doesn't even wear a suit, just wears a tracksuit. Hilarious. I've totally lost interest in that whole story. I said from the start that shit looked set up to me, as in like a publicity, not a publicity stunt, but just an act. All looked fake to me. All looked fake. There's another fight this weekend, though. I think is it this weekend? Oh, I don't know when it is, and I forgot the fight, but I saw it on Boxing Scene. Yeah, I saw that. See, I wouldn't mind watching that fight. I'd watch that fight. I think Okoli beats him, but Riakporhe hits hard, so you never know. I'd watch that fight. I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, he would, right? He'd make a great Bond villain. Yeah, he would. Yeah, I think Felix Sturm more than likely is broke. Because he went to prison, didn't he? He went to prison in Germany. And he got out, and yeah, he's had a couple of fights. I think he lost his last fight, Felix Sturm. He came back and beat a couple of guys, and then he lost his last fight. 44 years old, Felix Sturm. Yeah, he's fighting this weekend on Saturday against Sukru Altay from Turkey, I believe. That sounds like a Turkish name. Sounds like a Turkish name. Yeah, Sturm was a good fighter once upon a time, but yeah, he needs to call it a day. Unless he can get a fight with like fucking Sergio Martinez. If they could make that fight, fair enough, make that fight, but like, what's he sticking around for? I want to say 2002, 2003 when he fought Oscar. Let's have a look on his box rec. I want to say 2003, I want to say, when he fought Oscar. See how good my boxing knowledge is. 2004. 2004. Yeah, he got jobbed badly in that fight. What's up, G-Man? How you doing, bro? Big up G-Man, by the way. Salute. Exactly. Listen, bro. If they made that fight, I would watch it. I would watch it. I'm all. Do you know what I'm all for? I've said this for a long time. If these old boys want to stay pro and continue fighting, there should be like an old man league, like a seniors version, like a senior. I'd be all for like a senior WBC title. I'd be all for it. Like 40, like I would say 42 plus senior league. I'd watch it. Who would not watch Sergio Martinez, Felix Sturm? I'd watch it. It's insane that was 20 years ago. Bro, it's insane. It's insane. Like 2013 is 10 years ago. 2013 to me feels like 2 years ago. I can't lie. The last 10 years have gone mad quick. I think once you reach adulthood, time just starts to fly. Time goes like in fast forward. Wheelchair boxing, DAZN would get on that. Probably, bro. They have no shame. Honestly, I'd probably lean towards Felix Sturm. He's got better fundamentals. So when he got two old guys going at it, I'd lean towards Felix Sturm. They're another fucking bunch of idiots. The Tyson Fury fanboys. Imagine being so obsessed with a complete degenerate like Tyson Fury. Christ. But again, Tyson Fury is, to me, he's a generation for a mascot full of he's a mascot for a generation full of fuck ups. That's what Tyson Fury is. No accountability, dishonest, vulgar, fucking clown. That's what he is. That's what Tyson Fury is. Yeah, I'm all for shithouse fights in boxing. Looking forward. Same. Jarrell Miller versus Lucas Brown. Unironically, I'm looking forward to it. But this is how tapped. This is how fucking tapped and clapped Tyson Fury fanboys are, though. Someone left a massive comment saying that technically Usyk is a middleweight, as he fought middleweight as an amateur. So technically, it's true. It's like saying, "Oh, that's so ridiculous." That is so ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. Oh, idiots, man. Idiots, honestly, idiots. I'd watch it. Lewis versus Tyson. I'd watch it. I think Tyson beats Lewis now. If they were to fight now, Tyson beats him. Yeah, exactly. I was a strawweight. I was strawweight at like 9 years old. So if you beat me up, Nordic, you beat up a strawweight. What a big man you are. It's silly, isn't it? It's so silly. You beat up a strawweight. It's so silly. Again, I hope that fight happens. I hope that fight happens, but I don't know. I just can't trust Tyson Fury. I can't trust him. Yeah, saying that Usyk's a middleweight is the same as saying Marco Antonio Barrera is a flyweight because he was at 16. Yeah, exactly. It's silly. It's so silly. Morales lost to a flyweight. All the people I know in my personal life who are Fury fans are complete degenerate. I know a guy who is obsessed with him, He started a business conveniently. He opened it, and on that day, he announced that he's had massive mental health issues. Yeah, that's part of a course. Part of a course. Again, I'm not somebody who discounts mental health, but we've gone far too far with it as a society. Now it basically, if I say, "Oh, I've got mental health issues," it completely alleviates me of responsibility. It alleviates me of the mistakes I've made, and it gives you a cure-all excuse for your fuck ups. That's what far too many people do these days. Don't care who it offends. It's just for truth. Most people, a lot of it is not mental health and depression. A lot of people in this day and age are just fucking weak. That's the truth of it. That's the truth. And we've seen that in the last 3 years. We've seen that plainly. Most people are just fucking weak, not prepared to stand up for anything. You know? Embarrassing. Prepared to sell their kids' future out, prepared to give away their kids' bodily autonomy because they were scared. They believed a bit of propaganda on TV. Bro, most people are clapped. I have so little faith in civilization, in like Western civilization. It's unreal. But you know, I get in these moods sometimes. Usually I'm positive, as you guys know. I'm not a black pill type of guy. Because of my faith in God. But sometimes, man, I do worry. I do worry for the future. I do worry what happens if I bring kids up into this world, especially living where I live now. I do worry about things like that. I can't lie. I do worry. I think things will turn around. I do. But I don't think we've gone through the worst of it right now. I don't. Sonny looks like he never made it to puberty. He's another idiot I can't stand. Sonny Edwards, idiot. He's a good boxer, but can't stand him. Don't get me wrong. Tyson Fury is a very good heavyweight. There's no doubt about that. He's a very good heavyweight, and I'd make him a favorite over Usyk, despite how much I dislike him. It's not gonna you know, my dislike to Tyson Fury is not gonna change how I pick that fight. I just don't like the guy, honestly. Susan stepped down from YouTube. Is that true? If that is true, that's a good thing, because she's a fucking idiot. Good. She's been replaced by a guy called Neil Mohan. Hopefully this guy's like based. I doubt it. I'm depressed, so buy my merch. No, I didn't see it, Jiho. I didn't see it. Yeah, exactly, G-man. Exactly. Listen, man. I think the way I view the world is largely down to my dad, because both my parents were older, and especially my dad. Like my dad was a fucking G. My dad got my mum. Like he met my mum when he was like 40, and she was like 20 something, 20 something. But my dad is proper old school, and yeah, he doesn't deal with none of this like modern day men's mental health shit. Grin and bear it and get on with it. No excuses. You just get on with it. To the point to where like he was proper hardline with it as well. Like if I came home upset if somebody talked shit to me as a kid, if somebody was picking on me, he wouldn't like he wasn't the type of dad who would like put his arm around my shoulder and say it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. He says it's up to you whether you do something about it. And I remember this was at middle school. I think I've told this story before. Some kid was starting shit with me in arts class. So I picked up a fucking clay pot and smashed him in the face with it. Because he was just fucking going at me and going at me and going at me, just irritating me, winding me up. So I smashed him in the face with a clay pot. School rang my parents. I'll pick your son up. He's excluded for a week. He attacked a student. Bloody bloody blah. Obviously, my mum went mad. I told my dad the story, what happened, and he was like, "Cool, do what you want this week. Just make sure you tidy your room. Bloody bloody blah." That was it. And he told my mum, "No, you don't punish him for it." Like, you know what I'm saying? That was my dad. That's my dad. That's his worldview. Big up to the sit down. By the way, bro, I need to link up with you on the other channel. I need to link up. I heard your interview with Juan Grillo. Great interview, bro. Great interview. I need to get on your podcast. I'm just a bit how do you say? I think it will be cringe if I go on your podcast with like a fucking mask on. If you don't mind that, I'll do it, but yeah, that is great. That's great news for you guys. Big up to Mike Mora. Honestly, I would say hockey. If I were to watch any US sport, it'd probably be ice hockey. I hope so, G-Man. I hope so. I hope it swings back. Yeah, I'm the same, Lee. I think he's a good fighter. I do think he's a good fighter, Sonny Edwards. As much as I dislike him, I think he's a good fighter. Yeah. I can't see it, though. They're going to get some bot NPC to run YouTube. They're going to get some bot NPC. So even right now, yeah, you still can't talk about Ukraine, Russia on YouTube. You still can't talk about it. Like, I want to make videos on that on the other channel, but you still can't talk about it. It's insane. Even if you don't push a particular narrative, you can't talk about it. Unless you're CNBC, BBC, Sky News, Fox, then you can talk about it. YouTube was taken over by the corporate elites a long time ago. A long time ago. Bro, every fucking thumbnail, innit? Every thumbnail. Some fucking wanker, some fat wanker with a patchy beard, open mouth, thumbnail. Every fucking video. I don't know who pissed on my cornflakes this morning. I'm just in that I'm in that kind of mood. That's the thing, Al. When people use mental health as a crux to get out of responsibility and to alleviate themselves of blame for their mistakes, that's when the waters are muddied, because it takes away from people who are actually suffering, who can't get help. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry now has fucking depression. Big up to yourself, bro. Yeah, I don't want to be like. I don't want anybody knowing who I am. Basically, that's the only reason I kind of keep my identity to myself. It's one of those ones. Yeah, you have to use code words for everything. Yeah, because I was looking at making a war crime video on the other channel, and a couple of cases from Russia-Ukraine war, but big up to Chris Andre, by the way. Salute. How are you, bro? I'm good, man. I'm just ranting. I'm ranting, bro. Your dad sounds like mine. When I was about 8 years old, I got punched by a 12-year-old and went to my dad crying. His response was, "If you don't go back out there and punch him in the mouth, I'm going to have to give you a proper reason to cry." So I went out swinging. One of the best life lessons I've ever had. Yeah, exactly. But these days, like in this day and age, man, kids are so mollycoddled. Like my little nephew, man. I mean, all he does. I'm 28. I'm not old. I did grow up with the internet, but we went out. We got up to mischief, and 13, 14. We was out from in the summer holidays. We was out from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, doing absolute nonsense. These days, man, these kids just stay in their room all fucking day, playing Fortnite, and God knows what they do now, man. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, if you talk to these kids, like, what are their experiences? What? Because I got up to all sorts of shit when I was young, and as did most people my age and older than me. What stories do these kids have? Yeah. But again, as I said, Nordic, YouTube now is completely been taken over by the corporate elites. I mean, for example, like how on earth, if you're like looking at whatever video you're looking at, maybe something to do with current events, you're looking at some independent person's take on something that happened in these suggested videos. CNN, Sky, CNBC, Fox, all this shit, all of these corporate fucking channels in the recommended videos. Click on one of those videos, look at the view count. Look at the view count, 20,000 views, 30,000 views, 40,000. These guys are getting smashed by regular Joes uploading videos, yet they're always recommended. Yeah, I know, right? I've never watched one of his videos, Mr. Beast. I don't know who he is really. Yeah, YouTube is basically TV nowadays. YouTube probably peaked in about 2010 to 2012, maybe to 2013. It was after that I noticed it start to get a bit diluted, and it kind of got hijacked. Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, though, when you stand up for yourself as a kid, I think it's good to install that in a child anyway, because if it's installed in them and they act upon it early, I think that will stick with them throughout life in general. Not to get trod on as an adult, but it's silly now. It's silly. Like I look at how my generation in particular responded to COVID, for example, and quite frankly, I was disgusted with my generation. We're supposed to be the rebellious ones. We're supposed to be the ones who push against authority, quote unquote millennials and Gen Z. And yeah, I saw the reaction, and it was it was just heartbreaking, honestly. Me and my friends, we did our thing still. We done house parties, we organized meetups, all that shit. I lived my life pretty much as usual. Only difference was we just done more house parties. But it kind of just it feels like you're fighting a losing battle, but ultimately all you can do, I don't know, it's one of those. Yeah, I don't even pay for a TV license. I've never paid for a TV license. As soon as I moved out, I've never paid for one. And I don't watch TV either. I hear you, bro. I have two brothers. The middle one is straight badass. The little one, though, he's 18. Love the kid, but fucking hell, he's just a very soft kid. This shit is socially engineered. Yep. I mean, once for men, I know it's cliche, but once like the males in society are docile and uh, I mean it's done basically. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But it's interesting you say that though, Chris. Like I hear so I always try to take I always try to look at alternative sources of information, get different takes on certain situations, and inevitably that leads you to the quote unquote truther community, which I have my own problems with, by the way. But very often you hear the question posed like, how was you awake? How did you become awake, or how do you awaken the people in general? When you think about that, when I think about that, I can't pinpoint to an example to where I quote unquote woke up to where I wasn't taking what was told to me at face value and just assuming that was true. I've always been that way. Can you actually awake somebody? Can you make somebody wake up, or is it just ingrained? I get depression nearly every week from watching Spurs play football. Yeah, you guys are shit right now. Although considering your team, I felt you did okay in Milan. Your midfielder, what was his name? Sarr. I felt Sarr looked okay. I felt he had a good game. And you can beat Milan in the next leg, but I think Tottenham's season in the league is basically finished because Batencourt's out. That's a big blow. It's a big blow. But as a United fan, I'm happy because you're our top four rivals, so I'm happy. What do you think about the WBO ordering Lopez Taylor? Did they order it? I'm all for that fight. I'd rather see Taylor right that wrong in Catterall, but I'd watch that fight, no problem. Yeah, you got a license for that license, yep. Yeah, the hallelujah cough opened my eyes. Most people I grew up with let me down, is all I'll say. Yeah, that's one thing I have been pretty lucky with. Like the friends that I have, my close friends, they all pretty much saw through it. They all pretty much saw through it. They kind of took a couple took it seriously at the start, but after like a month, they was like, "Fuck this, let's just do our thing as we always do." So it could be worse. It could be worse. Having said that, though, I have heard people talk about it now, years later, for 2.5 years later, whatever it is, 3 years later. I overheard a conversation in the office. Oh, have they tried to lock us down again? I'm not paying attention. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to live my life as normal. Yeah, cool. That's great to hear, but you're 3 years too late, my son. I used to think that way, but the more I think about it, I just think they're trying to destroy anybody with who shows discontent for the way the world is going. That's what I think Qatar 2022 was about, the World Cup in Qatar. I think that was very deliberate. You saw the media coverage. You know what I'm saying? They're systematically trying to destroy people's faiths. In the West, they've succeeded with Christianity for the most part. Obviously, there are still Christians out there. But I think they're going to now move on to Islam. That's what they're going to do. At one point in time, you couldn't criticize Islam, but you'll start seeing the shift. They're trying to destroy people's faith in God. Yeah, the world's going crazy, man. The world's going crazy. No, we can't. We can't win the league. Apology. If we get top four and we win the Carabao Cup, That's a great first season for Ten Hag. That's a great first season. I'll be happy with that. And again, we played well against Barcelona tonight. I was nervous about that game, to be honest, but we competed with them. We're on the right track. Yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah. Spurs against City were great, but again, the next week against fucking Leicester, awful. Yeah, nothing's as simple as it seems. Yeah, that's true. The thing is with Josh Taylor, man, he's not fought for a year, and in his last fight he was dreadful. And boxing to me is like you're only as good as your last fight, and especially combine that with the inactivity, it's hard to say what Taylor shows up. But Teofimo hasn't been looking too hot either. I think it's a harder fight than people expect. I'd pick Josh Taylor, but I think Teofimo gives him trouble. Yeah, it's hard to know. Like you, I'm a believer in God. As a child, I was told everything that would come to pass, biblical prophecies. Would I have been awake without that upbringing? I think we're all exposed to something at some point. That gives us the tools to be awake, I guess. That's a good perspective. That's a good perspective. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt. It's the same. I was too young when the Iraq War was happening. I was 9 when we invaded, and I was 7 when 9/11 happened. But you see how people talk about that in retrospect now. Everyone acknowledges that it was a big scam and we was lied to by the media, the government, everyone, etc. Russia-Ukraine happens. Well, we see the reaction. It's rinse and repeat. It's rinse and repeat. Oh, you're talking shit, Cannon. Man United, we will get top 4. I think we'll get top 4. Out of Newcastle and Tottenham, we have, in my opinion, we have the best manager. I think Ten Hag, and I'm not saying this, I'm a United fan, obviously. I was never sold on Van Gaal. I was never sold on Jose or Moyes or Ole. I'm sold on Ten Hag. I think if that guy is backed, he'll do very well. I think he's a very good manager, Ten Hag. I think he's a very good manager, not only on the field, but how he's handled the off-the-field problems. Ronaldo, for example, perfect. When Rashford was late to training, dropped, come off a bench. Strong manager. I like the fight intangible. I like the fight. Mentally unstable spastic versus weight drained spastic. At least one of them's going to lose. I'd probably say Taylor overwhelms him and is too big. But again, if he's struggling at the weight, who knows, man? Tio. I think Tio's going to be a lot more competitive. I see a lot of people acting like it's going to be a squash match, and Taylor is just going to run through him. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. Again, I make Taylor favourite. I'd pick him to win. I don't think it will be easy. I'm not sure what the if he's pled guilty. I mean, I'm not sure what that leads to. I'm not sure what the sentencing could be. I'm not sure. In Lara Wood, I have Lara. It's a great fight, like I said. Lee Wood has the chance to knock him out. Lee Wood's a good straight puncher, good boxer puncher. Lara leaves a lot of openings as he closes the distance. Uh, Pretty open guard, I would say. I just have a feeling that Lara's gonna close that gap, get up close and work Lee Wood. And one thing about Lee Wood, when he sustains pressure, he loses his shape quite a lot. And against a guy like Lara, that could end badly. I just have a feeling in a real hard, tough fight, Lara's gonna see it through. It's a great fight though. Yeah, I'd agree. Pro Graze is too good for Catterall. I don't know, man. I've not been particularly impressed with Taylor. Obviously, the Catterall fight, as we know, but I was kind of concerned with the last 4 rounds against Jose Ramirez. I felt Taylor looked a bit. I wouldn't say spent, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm glad Taylor's gone with. I'm glad he's left Ben Davison. I don't think Ben Davison is the right style of trainer for Josh Taylor. He's now with Joe McNally, who I think is a much better fit. You see his work with Liam Smith, for example, he seems to get good results out of more aggressive fighters, which is what Josh Taylor is. I think he'll be competitive. No, Cannon, you got to be crazy if you think Tottenham are finishing above us this season. You got to be crazy. You got to be crazy. You got to be crazy. We're not going to win. No, don't get me wrong. We're not going to win the league or anything. I see some deluded United fans. We're in the title race. That's nonsense. If we get top 4, win the Carabao Cup, that's a good season. Considering where we was at last year, it's a good season. And if we get these Qataris in, it's looking good. It's looking good. Tell you what, though, I was disappointed in Arsenal last night. I'm rooting for Arsenal to win the league, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. I felt Arsenal should have really gone for another striker in January. Eddie Nketiah, to me, is just not at that level. Hard worker, but not at the level. We've seen that in the last 3 games. Missed some big chances. A big up to Chris Andre. Thank you, man. Got to go. We'll watch the rest of the episode later tonight on delay. Big up, Del. You was on fire today. God bless, brother. And everyone in the chat. You too, man. Have a great weekend, Chris. Have a great weekend, man. Thank you very much. Big up to yourself. And yes, of course, Ten Hag. Ten Hag's... listen, it's weird. It's weird hearing. Even I've heard rivals say I actually quite like Ten Hag. That's weird for a Man United manager. That's bizarre. When rival fans say they quite like a Man United manager, that's weird. That's strange. Yeah, Rashford's been great. Rashford has been great this season. He's found a totally different level. He looked shot last season. He looked shot, but yeah, there's been some talk of it. Albanian boxer, yeah, Kosovo, Albania, Serbia, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't kick off. Yeah, I worry about Josh in regards to more so the punch resistance, staying at 140 after all this time. But again, in terms of Taylor's more robust. I think he can get on top of Tio. And I think he'll more than likely drown him. But It's a good fight, in my opinion. What's up, Michael? How you doing? I think he was overhyped, no doubt. I don't think he's a bum though. I think Tio's a decent fighter who should be a lot further ahead. He's talented. He's just an idiot, in my opinion. Keeping his dad around, getting rid of Joey Gamache was the worst thing he did, in my opinion. I felt he should have stuck with Joey Gamache. Basically, yeah. Basically intangible, yeah. Money talks. Yeah, Arsenal bottled it in their last 3 or 4 games. The same thing happened to Liverpool twice. Has it already happened to Arsenal? Yeah. I hope Arsenal win it. And I'm not an Arsenal fan. I fucking can't stand Arsenal, but Arsenal, I prefer Arsenal than Man City. That'd be a great fight, Lee. Taylor versus the Stanionis Ortiz winner. That'd be a great fight. Well, John Jones has been out for what, 3 years? 2 or 3 years? And Cyril Gane's a good heavyweight. A very good heavyweight. That's a great fight. I was debating covering the latest UFC card. Islam Makhachev versus Alex Volkanovski. By the way, that was a great fight. That was a great fight. I felt that fight was super close. I can see why people felt Volkanovski won. To me, it was it was 3-2 either way. Whoever you scored that fight to. A rematch is needed, I think. If you base your lives on an entity that has created everything and is in control of everything we do, why do you worship it? We are blessed to be born in a fairly good age of humanity, and even still, look at the shit that is going on. You are worshipping a tyrant at best. Didn't God give human beings free will, though? If we didn't have free will, would that be equally as tyrannical? I've got the free will to be the nicest person I could be or the worst person I could be. If I didn't have that free will, yeah, John Jones has that proper fighting mentality. Run over pregnant ladies and not give a damn, no mercy. Yeah, that guy is a sociopath, in my opinion. That guy is a sociopath. John Jones, but he's tremendously talented. You can't lie. He is the best MMA fighter I've seen. In regard, I was never around watching Fade or guys like that. But I would say, in terms of pure talent, John Jones is probably the best I've seen. Probably the best I've seen in terms of pure talent. Khabib is up there. GSP, Anderson Silva, obviously. But yeah, John Jones is yeah, I don't rate him at all. Albanian boxer. Don't rate him. Loads up on every single shot. Stevie McKenna, yeah. I'm not a big believer. He may do something, you never know, but he needs, like you say, he gets caught a lot against low level competition. Yeah, he needs to tighten up. Not really. I think we all knew that was coming. One of these sanctioning bodies was eventually going to rank. They was going to rank Jake Paul in eventually. So it is what it is. I expected it. It shouldn't happen, but It is what it is. I'm not usually one to look. I'm not usually one to look too much into training videos, but that footage of Jones hitting the pads recently really shows that his legs aren't what they used to be. Garn has a solid chance. Yeah, I mean, even when John Jones came back at light heavyweight, his last two fights, I felt he lost to Dominic Reyes. I felt he beat. He also had another close fight against, is it Santos? Brazilian guy. I felt he won that fight. But against Reyes, I felt he lost. Can't lie. I sent you a message trying to get hold of you. I don't have Twitter. You got a throwaway email address. Yeah, I do, bro. 1 second. What email address? What email address should I use? 1 second, bro. I'll use my I'll use the email for my second channel. Hang on. 1 second. Oh, fuck, 1 second. Shit. That's email that one, Canon. I've just put it in the chat. And thank you, man. If you can sort me out, that'd be great. Yeah, Jones is 35 years old, 3-year layoff. If he wins this, then he's the GOAT, but logic would say he gets smashed. You can never rule out John Jones, though. You can never rule out John Jones. It depends. It depends. I'm more open to MMA than I have been, I can't lie. I still don't like the super wrestle heavy type of fights. But when they're standing and mixing it up, I like it. I don't mind a bit of wrestling, but if it's a whole fight of wrestling, yeah, I tune out. I do tune out. Yeah, I felt Dominic Reyes won. Oh, you had Reyes losing. I felt Reyes won that fight personally. It's a good question, Marianne G. It's a good question. Maybe you don't know that question until this is over. Who knows? Maybe then it becomes clear. You never know. Yeah, Neri is fighting. Hovhanessian. Yeah, Art Hovhanessian. Yeah, that's a good fight. That is. Neri is hot and cold. I'd probably pick Neri on points. It's a good fight, though. It's a good fight. You ever thought of doing a fan meetup? No way, bro. No way. No way. Do you mean on the other channel? No way. No fucking way. Oh, you've got crazy. You got I also not Avanesian, Hovhanessian. Yeah, you got him to stop Neri. He does hit hard. I can't lie. But yeah, he can win the fight, but I'd probably lean towards Neri on points. I'd rather watch Grassgrove and watch Khabib's grappling. To me, Khabib's grappling was more entertaining though than most because he was aggressive with it. He would ground and pound. He would look for Kimuras, things like that. He would be more aggressive with his grappling. It's when I say wrestling in like MMA, it's more so when they like you'll take a guy down, and then they'll just lay on top of him doing nothing. That's what I don't like. When they just lay on top of him doing fuck all. If you're wrestling and you're working, you're looking for ground and pound, you're looking for submissions, you're looking for transitions. I like that. I don't mind that. It's when they're just laying on top of a guy, neutralizing them, but doing nothing. That's what I don't like. That's when to me the wrestling is just dull. And it also leads to like a scoring dilemma as well. So like if you're a wrestler and you take a guy down, you hold him down for 3.5 minutes, you've neutralized your opponent for 3.5 minutes, but the other 1.5 minutes when he's on his feet, he's lighting you up. Who's won that round? You've controlled him for 3.5 minutes, but in the 1.5 minutes he was standing, he outstruck you. Who won that round? That's another thing why when it comes to wrestling, especially in effective wrestling, I think it's scored too high. Like the whole control element to me, scored too high. Scored too high. Yeah, Marku was a kickboxer, right? Was he a kickboxer? Okay, like a Muay Thai guy? And then he turned to boxing. I like Marku. I don't think Marku's going to do anything special, but I like watching him fight. He's quite fun. If he's matched with the right opponents, I think Marku could be in some good fights. Yeah, it's one of those things, Marianne, bro. It's like I don't get like uptight about it or anything like that. People are free to feel how they want to. It's one of those ones, you know. And I don't believe in an organized religion. I just believe in God, you know. I'm going with Matthias Lee, but what I can guarantee is violence in that fight. Whoever wins, that fight's going to be rough. I just feel that Matthias is more experienced. Obviously, he's fought better competition. I think he gets more purchase on his punches, and overall his work is more damaging, and he maintains that as well throughout the rounds. One more thing I would say, neither guy has great defense, but one thing I will say in favor of Matthias is that even when he gets hit, he has a good habit of rolling and taking sting off shots. Whereas Ponce, from what I've seen, is far more he doesn't do that as much. You know, he's far more straight up and down in regards to just getting hit in the face. It's a great fight, though. It's a great question, bro. I'm certainly not going on holiday this year. What I'm feeling right now, if I were to go on holiday anywhere, it would be somewhere in Latin America. So Colombia, not for cocaine, before you guys say, Colombia, Brazil, or Mexico, I think. Somewhere like that. I've been around Europe. I've seen most of the Mediterranean. That's worth seeing. I've been to Bulgaria, so I guess that's Eastern Europe. I'd like to see Latin America. I'm not particularly interested in. I'd say that. I wouldn't mind seeing Asia. I wouldn't mind going to like fucking South Korea or Japan. Not interested in Australia, personally. I don't want to go to a place to it's where it's like a sunny England, to be honest. America, though, I'd go America. Miami, Texas, somewhere like that. Go to Miami just for like the Cuban chicks. I'm not a fan of YouTube boxing. I've not really seen much of it. I've seen a couple of highlights on Twitter, but I'm not a fan of it. Having said that, I'd rather watch YouTuber boxing than female boxing. Can't lie. Yeah, absolutely, Lee. Yeah, great fights at 140. Taylor or Prograis versus Matias or Ponce. Taylor Prograis 2, Taylor Lopez. Yeah, exactly. Some great fights. Bulgaria's good fun, honestly. Bulgaria was good fun. It depends what you want. If you want to go for a lads type of holiday, it's Sunny Beach, but there's skiing in Bulgaria. There's all sorts in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is great. I liked Bulgaria. People were like really nice as well. Went to a shooting range in Bulgaria as well. Outside is well outside of a resort. It was in like it's about fucking an hour from the resort, I want to say. And it was a shooting range. We fired like old Soviet weapons. So AK we fired. SKS we fired. SKSs, by the way, the SKSs they had, I'm not sure whether you guys know what an SKS is, but they had like a strip magazine is all I can describe it as. It's like a magazine on a bit of metal. And you see the bullets. It looks fucking so sick. You slide it in. It's fucking sick. But yeah, we fired SKS, AK. I think the pistol we fired was a Makarov. I think. It was good fun in Bulgaria. I liked Bulgaria a lot. I knew Bulgaria was a good country. The first minute we landed, we got to the resort, went out on a town, found our first bar. You know, first drinks are pretty quiet usually. Sat down, ordered some cheap ass beers. Great. Women everywhere. Great. Amazing. 2 cops sat next to us on their lunch break, it looked like, in their full uniform, carrying pistols. Cool, is what it is. On their break, what did they order? Couple of beers. Based country. Liked it. I enjoyed Bulgaria. What could go wrong? Amazing country. I'm not usually a strip club type of guy, to be honest with you. But I went to a strip club in Bulgaria. I thought I was going to get fucking mugged. The henchman in that fucking club, I swear to God, looked like something out of a Bond movie. Kid you not. Madness. But yeah, Bulgaria was good. Bro, I've tried Rakia, Albanian boxer. I've tried Rakia. I tried Rakia before I even went to Bulgaria. My friend, who I was a friend with at school, and he had his dad owned property in Bulgaria, and he used to bring back fucking like all that sort of shit, Rakia and whatnot. And I tried Rakia on my 18th birthday. I downed a whole glass of Rakia, thinking I was like Bertie Big Bollocks. Massive glass of Rakia. I downed it in like a few seconds, thinking I was a man. 10 minutes later, face planted. I nearly face planted onto a fucking barbecue, fell through the fucking table. I was fucked. I was absolutely fucked all day. I woke up at night, so probably like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then I went out and did it again. I got drunk twice in the same day. Fucking degenerate back then. There's a few Albanians running about where I'm at. I've known a couple of Albanians. Wood's a fun fighter. Lee Wood's a fun fighter. And he can win the fight. He can beat Lara. Lara leaves a lot of openings. And again, like I said, Lee Wood can punch. He throws straight punches. And he can get to that target. He can walk Lee Wood he can walk Lara into a big shot. There's no doubt about it. Lee Wood has a good puncher's chance in that fight. I just feel Lara's gonna overwhelm him. I like Punch Perfect. Yeah, I've seen him on G-Man. I've not like looked into his channel that extensively, just due to time. But I've heard him on G-Man and he always comes across level-headed. What's the fattest girl that I've ever been with? Contrary to popular belief, I haven't been with like mega fatties. I haven't been with like mega fatties. I've been with a couple of chunky girls, but I haven't been with like monstrosities. Do you know what I mean? Not a big fan. Unpopular opinion: Kambosos beats everyone outside the top 5. Could beat Tank. I don't think he would beat Tank. Doesn't beat Devin, as we know. Doesn't beat Lomachenko. Doesn't beat Ryan Garcia. Doesn't beat Tank. Who else is at lightweight? Who else is at lightweight? Doesn't beat Shakur. There's 5 right there. Who else is at lightweight? So I've named 5 already. And I'm not being harsh on the guy. I just don't think he beats these guys. I said that before he fought Devin Haney as well. I don't think he doesn't beat Zepeda. I don't think he beats Frank Martin. I don't think he beats Isaac Cruz. I've named 8 who I don't think he beats. Does he beat Jermaine Ortiz? Probably not. I don't think he does beat Jermaine Ortiz. Gustavo Lemos, who beat Lee Selby in a much better fashion than Kambosos. He knocked out Lee Selby in 5 rounds, dropped him multiple times. I could name 10 guys who could easily beat Kambosos. I'm going Benavidez. I think Plant's competitive. Can he win that fight? Yeah. But I think pressure busts pipes. I think Caleb starts well in that fight. I think he wins the early rounds when he's fresh, when he's sharp. Probably up on the scorecards after 5 or 6 rounds, maybe. But you'll see that guy slow down like he does in every fight, and Benavidez is slowly going to catch up with him, put the beats on him, and he'll stop him late. I see it being a poor man's version of Miguel Cotto and Margarito 1, basically. That's what I see in that fight. And I hope Benavidez wins as well. I'm not a big fan of Caleb Plant, I can't lie. There's something about Caleb Plant that just rubs me up the wrong way. I know Benavidez came across as a fucking clown at the press conference. I'd agree with that. But there's something really fucking smarmy. There's something about Caleb Plant. I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. Whereas with Benavidez, you know what you're going to get, kind of thing. I'm just talking about a personal level. I don't like Caleb Plant. Big up to Levi. Salute to Levi Khan. Big up to Mad Chad. Yeah, Gary Cully's on. He's fighting tomorrow, Mad Chad. Saturday. He's fighting Saturday. I like Gary Cully. Good fighter. Good talent. Tall, rangy, hits hard. I think he's a southpaw. Yeah, there's just something more authentic about Benavidez. Caleb Plant, man, I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about that guy I don't like. I didn't like it also in that Canelo fight when he said, "Oh, I'm pretty good, right? I'm pretty good. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. Don't want to hear it. And what does Caleb Plant beating Benavidez do for 168? Not much. Not much. I'd rather see Benavidez win. Plus, he's got a more entertaining style. Caleb's style was pretty beta, to be honest. It's pretty beta. Did he throw a punch in anger against Canelo? I don't want to see that guy again, man. I'd rather see Benavidez lay waste to him. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe, Apology. It's just a vibe. There's something about him I just don't like. Do you ever get that? I get that all the time with people. He's one of those guys. Maybe he's a nice guy. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I've got it wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sold on Berlanga at all. He's a fun fighter, you know, at a certain level, and if you match him right, he could be a really good undercard fighter, good ticket seller, but can't see him being anything special, to be real with you. Can't see him doing anything special. But I get why Matchroom have signed him. The only thing I was concerned with was how they said that the plan is to lead him to a Canelo fight. Well, if that's the case, they're going to have to match him extremely carefully. So basically, he's just going to get fattened up and get destroyed by Canelo. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather see him fight good fights. Yeah, exactly, Lee. Yeah, sometimes there's just that feeling that you don't like people for no distinct reason. That guy's Anthony Joshua for me. I think, yeah, I get you, exactly. Exactly. Like, honestly, would Balanga beat Gabe Rosado? Probably now he would, but like, even a couple of years ago, Rosado probably beats Balanga. Honestly. Rosado now, though, to be honest, is looking kind of washed, but a couple of years ago, Rosado probably beats him. Yeah, it's how he slows his speech down. He always tries to sound like he's got something enlightening to say. Yeah, I just don't like the guy. He speaks in that Floyd Mayweather speak. Yeah, to a large degree, I would say it is, Alex. To a large degree, I would say it is. Yeah, cruiserweight fight in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Badu Jack versus Ilunga Makabu. That's actually a half decent fight. I would like Badu Jack to win. I've always felt Badu Jack's been an underrated fighter, but Badu Jack now is past his best, and he's not a cruiserweight. I think Makabu is just going to be too big, too strong. Makabu's not better. He's not a better fighter. He's not a better boxer than Badu Jack, but he's bigger. He's stronger. He's a natural cruiserweight, and I think Makabu wins that fight personally. I'd like to see Badu Jack win though. I'd like to see Badu Jack win. Badu Jack's always been one of those fighters though. You know, you get those fighters who don't really get any attention, but you have a soft spot for them. Badu Jack's one of those guys for me. I quite like Badu Jack. I quite like Badu Jack. Felt he got jobbed against James DeGale all those years ago. But that's a good fight. That is a good fight. But yeah, I've got Makabu. You know, the natural size advantage. That sort of thing. But, you know, Makabu's not great. If Badu Jack is to beat anybody at cruiserweight in regards to champions, Makabu will be his best bet. So I hope he wins. I hope Badu Jack wins. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I remember. Apology. Yeah, he was supposed to fight Canelo was supposed to fight Makabu. Yeah. If Badu Jack wins, I could see that happening. Badu Jack versus Canelo. at cruiserweight. I could see that happening. Because Badu Jack will be seen as food at cruiserweight. As much as I like him, he'll be seen as food at cruiserweight. I could see that happening. If Badu Jack beats Makabu, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised to see Canelo versus Badu Jack at cruiser. Don't be surprised. I still got Artur. Vladimir Putin. I've still got Artur. But it's a good fight. It's a damn good fight. The issue with that fight, though, is the longer we leave it, I don't think it's going to happen anyway, personally, but that fight has to happen next. If we're going to get an semblance of a good fight where both guys are near their best, it's got to happen next. And let's be real, yeah, Beterbiev at this point in time, probably already past his best by a few years. Has to happen next. But it's not going to. Yeah, Badu Jack was very lucky in his last fight in Saudi Arabia. I think that was on the AJ Usyk 2 card, right? He was very lucky. I felt he lost that fight to Rivera. I felt he lost that fight. But I like Badu Jack, man. He's had some bad luck in regards to scorecards in his career. Like, again, I felt he clearly beat James DeGale. Clearly. But there you go. I agree, apology. I agree. Yeah, Franklin has no chance. Franklin may stick around, like, for a few rounds, you know, but I don't think he's really going to pose any real questions for AJ in terms of offense, to be honest. I think it's a good comeback opponent. I don't mind AJ having that sort of fight. He's lost 2 fights in a row, so I don't begrudge him that, personally. I don't. And he'll probably go a few rounds, so it is what it is. It is what it is. One second. Who is the best welterweight in the UK? You might have to say McKinson right now, honestly. You might have to say McKinson. It was a damn good fight. In regards to the long count, I understand what people are saying. But Navarrete was caught on the floor. His gloves were on the canvas and he was caught again. So to me, it kind of evened itself out. He was clearly caught on the canvas with that last punch. So I was like, do you know what? It kind of evens itself out. Wilson got a knockdown. Navarrete got more time to recover. It was what it was. It was a great fight, but it highlights that Navarrete at 130 is there for the taking. He doesn't have that size anymore. He's there for the taking. I think Valdez has a really good chance of beating him. He's got a really good chance. I kind of agree, Levi, but, you know, Zili Zhang is a big dude, southpaw. He genuinely does hit hard. And he's sneaky with that straight left hand. One thing about Zili Zhang I've noticed, he can throw that fucking left-hand counter in between your punches. We saw that against Hrgovic. He was throwing with Hrgovic quite well at times. And Joe Joyce is a guy who likes to open up. If Zili Zhang can keep a straight head and try to nail Joe Joyce early on, it could be interesting. Having said that, I make Joe a big favourite. I do. Oh yeah, Ashley Sharp is shit, honestly. That guy's awful. I say awful. I don't mean he's awful, but like he's talking about world titles, and in the context of world level, he's fucking awful. He's good domestic level guy, nothing more, nothing less. Lara in rounds 7 to 9 is my prediction. Lara by stoppage, but Leewood's going to be a live dog, and he is dangerous. He's got far more power than Josh Warrington, and he's got good timing, Leewood. And as we know, Lara does leave a lot of openings. He can be hit. So Lara needs to be careful. I'm picking Lara, but I'm not underestimating Leewood. Leewood has a chance. He's got a puncher's chance in that fight. It's a damn good fight. It's a damn good fight. I'm looking forward to it. I think I've cancelled my DAZN, but I think my subscription lasts. I want to say, when does it end? My account. Guarantee it ends like fucking. It ends on March, so I can watch this fight tomorrow on DAZN. There you go. Bro, his chin, man, is so high up in the air when he fights Archie Sharp. He's got that stupid fucking quiff haircut as well. He's one of those guys, again, he's another one of those guys. You know, you don't know anything about them, but just by looking at him, guy looks like a fucking dickhead. And you want him to lose for no particular reason. I just get that. It's one of those guys, you know? Did he actually? Luan Krasniki fought Tony Thompson in a heavyweight eliminator. That's how Tony Thompson got his first shot at Vladimir Klitschko. He beat Luan Krasniki. I think that was a WBO eliminator. How's that for boxing knowledge? How's that for boxing knowledge? I might be wrong, but I'm sure Tony Thompson beat Krasniki. And then Tony Thompson fought Klitschko. How's that for boxing knowledge? Yeah, I mean, bro, they said they was going to get rid of the regular titles years ago, and here we are. I want to say they said that in like 2016, 2017. Something like that. And here we are years later, still WBA regular titles and all that bullshit. Gold titles now as well and all that shit. Nah, no way. No way. No way. No way. I couldn't see that happening. 1 second. Yeah, Tony Thompson was an all right fighter. Tony Thompson started boxing like super late, I think. I think he turned pro at like 28 years old, 29 years old. He started boxing late. I think that guy was like he was like a delivery driver when he first started boxing or something like that. He started boxing really late, considering he had a good career. He had a pretty good career. Got some big fights, got a couple of good wins. He beat Price obviously twice. He beat Orlando Solis as well. Tony Thompson had a good career, considering where he came from. He was sneaky, Tony Thompson. He was just a sneaky sort of fighter. And he actually gave Vladimir, I don't want to say he gave Vladimir a good fight in the first fight, but he gave Vladimir some trouble. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I saw that fight. Been a long time, but he gave Vladimir a little bit of trouble. Yeah, they can't sustain themselves, Levi, on that sort of main event. Adrian Broner versus Mikey Williams Jr. BLK Prime, yeah, they can't sustain themselves on that sort of main event. Yeah, Tony Thompson's post-fight interview after knocking out David Price is right up there. How are you going to celebrate? I'm going to break my wife's hips tonight. Man. Yeah, Tony Thompson was fun. He was a character. 1 second, I'm going to quickly pour myself a coffee. Yeah, those Tony Thompson versus David Price fights are endlessly rewatchable due to the commentary. They're so distraught. Yeah, my most underrated David Price moment was when he got knocked out by Erkan Tepe. The commentary when he got knocked out was just amazing. It's like, dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's so funny. It's so good. It was so good, honestly. I agree. Yeah, the Andrew Tate situation, to me, it comes across as fake. I agree. Apology. Yeah, Broner's been around a long fucking time. Like, a long fucking time. I remember people talking about Broner in like 09, 2010. Yeah, Broner's been around a long fucking time. A long fucking time. I never really fell for the Broner hype, though. The best I think Broner ever looked, from my recollection, was when he fought Antonio DeMarco at lightweight. He actually looked good in that fight when he fought DeMarco. Broner had good... Half of Broner had good talent and the other half was terrible. What I mean by that is this. Broner, he's up at, like, he had good hands, right? Combinations, counters, things like that. His footwork was awful, though. Broner's footwork's always been terrible. Always been terrible. And now he's not even letting his hands go. I hope you're right, Andrew, bro. I hope you're right, mate. Fury Usyk about to be announced. I keep on hearing that, man. Like, the amount of times we've heard that in the last few years, when it comes to heavyweight undisputed, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when it's official. Like, official. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that was insane. When Broner got on the pound for pound list. I think it was after he beat DeMarco. I want to say. I think it was after he. I'm pretty sure it was then 2012. In the last hour, the Sun for whatever it's worth. I hope they're right, man. Can't really trust the Sun, but I hope they're right. One of Broner's mistakes as well, aside from being a fucking idiot and totally unprofessional, one of his biggest mistakes was going from lightweight to 147 with no fights at 140. He basically ate himself out of 135. If he was dedicated, he would have stuck around at 135 until like maybe 2015. Because he left lightweight in 2013, right? Something like that. because he fought Malinadji in summer of 2013, and then he fought Maidana in December. So he left lightweight in 2013. He should have really left lightweight in like 2015. Should have fought the likes of like Miguel Vasquez at the time, who was a champion. Ricky Burns. I mean, I think he would have beaten those guys. I think Vasquez would have been a hard fight stylistically, but I think he would have beaten Ricky Burns. I really do. Broner at lightweight would have beaten Ricky Burns. That's what he should have done. Should have stayed at lightweight and fought those guys for a couple of years and then gone to 140. But he was never dedicated enough. He was always blowing up in weight. He was missing weight at 130. He was never disciplined, Broner. As soon as he started to get that good money, his discipline went out the window. Forget Fury versus Usyk. Dave Allen versus Steve Robinson is the fight to make. Honestly, I think Dave Allen fucking sends Steve Robinson to orbit. That Steve Robinson is bad. Yeah, Broner reminds me of Ryan Garcia a bit, as both have good hands but terrible footwork. I wonder if Ryan chooses to neglect his footwork, or if he's like Canelo and just doesn't have it. I get the comparison. Yeah, Ryan Garcia's feet ain't great. I think they've got a little better under Joe Goosen. Certainly from a front foot perspective. But yeah, his footwork is lacking, Ryan Garcia. His footwork is lacking. Ryan Garcia reminds me of Amir Khan in certain ways, not in terms of, just in terms of like all the athletic ability in the world, but some glaring flaws. And again, do we get that fight? Do we get Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis? I doubt it. Again, I'd like to be wrong. If we could get Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis this year, Fury, Usyk, Beterbiev versus Bivol, Spence versus Crawford, we could have a great year, but it wouldn't shock me, bro, if Broner gets inducted. You know, it wouldn't shock me. Ricky Burns had a good run. One thing about Ricky Burns, he had a great chin. Never was stopped, Ricky Burns. I don't know whether he's still fighting, Ricky Burns. But he had a good career. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his chin as well is suspect. When it comes, yeah, Ryan Garcia's chin is suspect. That's it, yeah. Broner's not going to get through in regards to resume, but like Apology says, he does have quote-unquote accomplishments, 4-weight world champion for a start. So, listen, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets inducted. Yeah, he was, Apology, yeah. I think he was favourite going into that fight as well. I'm not going to lie, I was picking Mitchell to win that fight. This was way before I started uploading, but I felt Mitchell was going to win that fight. Yeah, I think Prime Hatton knocks out Khan as well. I don't think he won Bangs Khan, though. I think Khan probably starts well, and Ricky grinds him down and gets a late stoppage. I think Khan probably starts that fight well. I think basically what happens, it turns out similar to the Lamont Peterson fight. You know how Khan started well in that fight, and then Peterson basically drawn him into a fight. That will happen with Ricky Hatton, but Ricky Hatton hits harder. He's more tenacious, and I think he stops Khan. I think he stops Khan. Stops Khan late, I would say. Costa Tszyu, I would say. I think Costa Tszyu. Those straight punches against a southpaw, like Josh Taylor, a guy whose guard is pretty wide, very often low lead hand. I think Costa Tszyu knocks out Josh Taylor. I think that's a bad stylistic matchup for Taylor. Taylor could outwork Costa Tszyu, but I think he probably walks onto something big. I think he walks onto something big and probably gets knocked out. In my opinion. It's a good fight, though. And people forget, like when people think of Costa Tszyu these days, they think about the Hatton fight, but he was well past his prime in that fight. He was well past his prime against Hatton, and that was competitive until it got stopped, until his corner pulled him out. That was competitive as well. I don't know why they pulled him out, or I think he might have quit. Actually, I forget. But a prime Costa Tszyu, I think a prime Costa Tszyu beats Josh Taylor. I think a prime Costa Tszyu would have beaten Ricky Hatton, to be honest. Costa Tszyu was good. True that, Christopher. What badge is that, by the way? Can't see what that badge is. Is that Chivas? Yes, Chivas, isn't it? That's Chivas. Chivas badge, right? Yeah. I had to Google it. Guadalajara, correct? Guadalajara. Somebody offered to send me a Guadalajara, Chivas football jersey from the other channel. Oh, Chivas USA. Okay. So Guadalajara's American affiliate team. I don't know many like Mexican football teams. I do, but Chivas is one. Is it FC Pumas is one? Who else is in the Mexican league? Fuck. Is it Pucheta? Like FC Pucheta or something like that? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, Monterrey, obviously. Club America, yeah. Pachua. So I'm getting fucking. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I know a few teams. Juarez, obviously, I think have a team, and the other one I think is Cruz Azul, maybe. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm getting sidetracked. Ricky Hatton or Adrian Broner, who has the better resume? Hatton unified lineal and 2-division champion, or Broner 4-division champion? I would say Hatton still, like even a washed Costa Tszyu is a better win than anything that Broner did, in my opinion. Plus, you have Collazo Although that fight, I felt Collazo won, but officially he won that fight, Hatton. I could argue that Collazo is a better win than anything Broner has on his resume. Then he got Malignaggi, who Broner beat, but a worse version, and he beat him in a worse fashion. I would say Hatton, personally. I would say Hatton. And yeah, even Malignaggi, which is one of Broner's best wins, was a faded Malignaggi. And we saw the trouble Broner had in that fight. Hatton beat the brakes off Malignaggi. And by the way, I don't think that Malignaggi fight was a robbery, by the way, against Broner. I've not seen it for basically since the day it happened, but I just remember Broner landing all the hard shots in that fight. And a lot of Malignaggi's work was slaps and things of that nature. Maybe I have to go back and watch it. But people say that fight was a robbery. I don't remember it being a robbery. Ponce de Leon was a robbery when he fought Broner. He won that fight. I don't think the Malignaggi fight was a robbery, though. I can't lie. Nah, I've not seen it. Not seen it, J7. Broner's stats are impressive, to be fair. 4 world titles, 3 DUIs, 5 baby mamas. It's quite a CV. It is quite a CV. You can't argue. You can't argue. AB. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, Castillo, that body shot was fucking gruesome as well. I think he broke Castillo's ribs, I want to say. I think he broke his ribs with that body shot. Because Castillo was a hard fucking guy. Tough old guy, man. Castillo was a good fighter back in his day. His fights, obviously, with Corrales is what stand out, but I mean, he beat Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion, in their first fight. He's another guy, though. Castillo's a guy who now goes unnoticed, but people forget what a good fighter he was. Castillo. People forget what a good fighter he was. I mean, let's say, for example, let's say he was given the win over Floyd. I think people would see Castillo a lot differently now to what they do. I think they'd see him a lot differently. They would remember him a lot differently, you know? Because who did he beat? He obviously beat Corrales in the second fight. I think he beat Casamayor. Julio Diaz, I think he beat. I forget who else he beat. Juan Lescano, maybe. He had some good wins. And if he were to get that Floyd win as well, then, yeah, people would look at him a lot differently. I'd like to say, honestly, I'd like Cody Crowley, Levi. I think that would be a good opponent for Boots. Both unbeaten. Both big welterweights. I'd like that fight. Cody Crowley, I'd like to say. So I personally, though, I just want to see him stay active more than anything. I just want to see him stay active. But I'd say Cody Crowley. I think that'd be a good fight. I'd like to say Virgil Ortiz, but we know that's not going to happen. That's going to be basically next generation's Crawford Spence, I think. Virgil Ortiz and Ennis. Bro, this StreamYard is so laggy. Okay, Cody Crowley's fighting Abel Ramos. Is that official? That's not a bad fight. Abel Ramos is he's a hard-nosed guy, hits hard, durable guy. He always comes to fight. Yeah, it is official. Okay. That's on the Benavidez card, I'm presuming. That's not a bad fight. That's not a bad fight. I think Cody Crowley should win, but it's a good fight. Yeah, Stanionis is good. Stanionis impressed me against Butayev. I picked Butayev to win that fight. Basically, the fight I was expecting was how that fight ended in the last 2 or 3 rounds when Butayev was really getting on top and outworking him. That's what I expected, basically, for 12 rounds, but Stanionis dictated that fight really well with his jab throughout most of that fight, was countering really well also. He boxed a good fight in that one. And yeah, Ortiz, that's a hard fight. Yeah, it's on the Benavidez card. Yeah, it's on the Benavidez card. Joey Spencer is in a step up. He's on that card as well, and he's taking a step up. He's fighting Jesus Alejandro Ramos, who is ranked 12 on BoxRec. He's got a good record. Beat Vladimir Hernandez, who's a good journeyman, knocked him out. Beat Luke Santamaria, who's a good journeyman again, good fringe contender. That's who Joey Spencer is fighting next. I think Joey Spencer loses that fight. Joey Spencer, to me, has always looked fucking awful. I'll be honest with you. I don't really rate Joseph Spencer. I think he'll lose that fight. Yeah, with Golovkin, mate, I'm past caring, honestly. That's pretty sad, isn't it? Yeah, Austin Trout versus Diego Sanchez, bare knuckle. But it is what it is. You know, if they're getting paid and they can do it, they can pass medicals. Who am I to judge? To be honest, I've not really seen much about fucking bare knuckle shit. Tyrone Zoiga, fucking hell, is he back? Tyrone Zoiga, Jesus Christ. Tyrone Zoiga is one of the worst fighters I've seen hold any version of a world title. Dreadful fighter, Tyrone Zoiga. Absolutely dreadful. Yeah, he's fighting a 6-rounder. He lost to Rocky Fielding, obviously. Got knocked out. Awful. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, it's a big risk, Will. It's a big risk. And, Lara is also one of those guys who can seriously hurt you as well. It's a dangerous, dangerous fight. But if he's to win this one, man, his stardom goes through the roof, and it sets up a big fight with Warrington. So listen, man, sometimes you got to roll the dice, man, and we need to see more of this from fighters taking these sort of fights. Need to see more of these fights, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great fight. I got Haney, but if Loma wins, is he top 3 pound for pound? If he beats Haney, I think you have to say that, just because it's not because Haney is like some virtuoso, but he's just so much bigger, and that is the definition of pound for pound. If your skills can translate and you beat a much bigger guy, that is the definition of pound for pound. If he were to beat Devin, it certainly raises him on that pound for pound list. Top 3, top 4. Yeah, Derek James is an interesting one. I think Derek's a good trainer, done some good work with Spence, obviously, and Jamel Charlo. I'm hoping he just brings that dog out. I know it sounds cliche and corny, but I'm hoping he brings that dog out, that risk taking AJ that we was used to seeing um, before Ruiz won. Technically, at this point in time, I'm not really sure there's much more you can do with AJ, but I think you can get his mind. You can get his mindset into a different place, and I think that's what's needed with AJ. AJ to me was at his best when he was a risk-taking boxer puncher. Recently, he's tried to be more of a pure boxer, a cautious boxer puncher, I would say. And to me, that just doesn't suit AJ. Like, it doesn't suit him. He needs to get that killer mindset back. That's what he needs, in my opinion. And that's what I'm hoping from Derek James. Balanga versus Furman. I want to see Balanga versus like Munguia. That'd be a good fight. That's what I'm thinking, Will. I think it's more the environment and changes to his mindset more so than technical improvements. Obviously, you can always try to tidy things up technically, but I think with AJ right now, it's about getting his mind right, trying to bring that killer instinct back out. Because there was a time when AJ was quite a spiteful fighter. I just feel that's gone now. It's not been there for a little while. And I always point to the Kubrat Pulev fight. I got a lot of fucking criticism when I said that AJ looked too tentative, like he was too worried, too anxious. The old AJ would have cleaned that Pulev out in 3 or 4 rounds. In my opinion, he wouldn't have carried Pulev for so long. He would have blasted him out of there in 3 or 4 rounds. He needs to bring that mindset back, in my opinion. Do you mean that of like the young guys? Out of the young guys, I probably would say Shakur over Ryan and Devin. I'd probably say Shakur. Can you imagine Bumlanger versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Bring back the Mexican Puerto Rico rivalry, bro. Chavez Jr. Man, oh god. I couldn't stand Chavez Jr. when he was a champion. I just couldn't stand him, honestly. Just see a guy like dragging his dad's name like through the mud. He got all the opportunities in the world as well because of his name, and he never even trained properly. When I saw that guy on HBO 24/7 leading up to the Martinez fight, biggest fight of his career, middleweight, I think it was a unification fight, biggest fight of his career, and he see this guy on HBO 24/7 sitting there in his fucking speedos eating fucking Cheerios, not training, like not taking what Freddie Roach was saying seriously. It's like, that's all you need to know about Chavez Jr. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But you know, Chavez, for as much as a fuck up as he was, he made a lot of money in boxing. Chavez Jr. How he got the Canelo fight was beyond me, honestly. Beyond me. Is Chavez Jr. still looking to fight on? Thing is with Chavez Jr. as well, I never got was back in the day when he was a champion, I heard so many people say the guy has so much potential if he trained correctly. I never saw the potential with Chavez Jr. All I really saw was a big, strong guy who had a weight advantage over most of his opponents. That's all I saw. I never saw a guy with like crazy potential. Chavez Jr. last fought in December 2021 in Culiacan. Yeah, exactly, Christopher. Yeah, the whole WBC situation surrounding Martinez and Chavez at the time was nothing short of a disgrace. And even HBO were complicit in that as well. They basically helped get Martinez stripped because Martinez was WBC champion, and I believe the WBC ordered him to fight Sebastian Zbik, who was the mandatory. Fair enough, he said, yeah, I'll fight him. HBO said, no, that fight's not good enough for HBO. As a result, Martinez basically gets stripped. He's then awarded the Diamond title. Chavez Jr. then fights for the vacant title against Sebastian Zbik on HBO. HBO telling Martinez, you can't fight Zbik because he's not good enough. But HBO allowed Chavez to fight Zbik on HBO for the vacant title. Like, they wanted Chavez to be a big star, HBO. They were banking on Chavez to win that fight against Martinez. They was banking on it. I get you, J7. I get you, but like the way he won that world, he never won it like properly. Like he was. People forget how privileged Chavez Jr. was. People forget. The Andy Lee fight was another big controversy in regards to drug testing after that fight. There was so much shadiness with Chavez's career. But it is what it is. Yeah, I said the exact same thing, Will. If they're actually seriously trying to get him a Canelo fight, they need to match Berlanga extremely softly because that guy's a knockout waiting to happen as far as I'm concerned. Belanga's not great. Yeah, I like watching those old HBO sit-downs as well. One of my favourites, I always say this, but one of my favourites was Provodnikov against Mike Alvarado. They did a sit-down, which was fucking great. Just Provodnikov's energy was just different level. Like the most like poignant thing I can remember from that episode was when when they make their closing statements, and Provodnikov basically said, I hope Mike trains hard. I wish him luck. Bloody bloody blah. When I get home, I'm going to go to the church and light a candle for him. That was just cold, man. That's cold. It's cold. HBO 24/7 was good. 24/7 and the sit downs or the face offs were great. I can't lie. Cotto Margarito as well. The second, the face off for the second fight, that was entertaining as well. Cotto Margarito. That was great, man. That was great. But big fights don't really get that sort of build up anymore. Those sit downs, those face offs, they don't get those sort of build ups anymore. That's one thing I don't like Max Kellerman, but that is one thing he was good at. He was great at hosting those. He was very good at hosting those. I think Caleb would beat Zach Parker quite easily. I think he'd probably outbox John Ryder in a close fight, probably lose to Billy Joe Saunders. But prime Billy Joe Saunders was 160, honestly, so I'm not sure about that. I don't think they highlighted it on 2 days. I don't think they did. HBO had some great they had great content surrounding fights. Like the 2 days series is another one. I think that was basically they'd released videos on YouTube like detailing 2 days for 2 days leading into the fight, up to the weigh-in, basically. They had some great shoulder programming, HBO, and nobody's done it as good since. Showtime's shoulder programming is terrible. DAZN's is terrible. Sky Sports in the UK, it can be decent. It's hit and miss. Sometimes the UK equivalent, like the Gloves Are Off, where they sit down and they talk to each other, the fighters, they can be good. But nobody's side content is as good as HBO's was. Nobody's. HBO just, to me, HBO has always been like the premiere when it comes to boxing. When there was a big fight on HBO, you knew it was a big fight, kind of thing. But yeah, I hope HBO do come back to boxing, but I can't see it. I just can't see it. Yeah, the first 2 fights in that trilogy were great, man. The first fight in particular was amazing. Rios Alvarado 1 was great. Second fight was great. Third fight was Rios destroyed him, if I remember correctly. Third fight, Rios destroyed him. Alvarado had a hard career, though. He fought Rios three times, all wars. Well, the last fight was a beatdown, but took a lot of punishment there. Fought Provodnikov, took a lot of punishment. Bradis Prescott, people forget about that fight. That was a great fight. Alvarado had a lot of hard fights. He had a lot of hard fights. He was fun to watch, though, Alvarado. Who else did Mike Alvarado fight? The worst was when he came back and fought Arnold Barboza and got destroyed. Oh, he fought Marquez. That was Marquez's last fight. I forget he fought Marquez. I forget he fought Marquez. Fought Mauricio Herrera as well. Yeah, he fought some good guys. So I'll be interested in seeing that. Now you mentioned DAZN. Did you ever see the Guerrero Civil movie where they were going to make on the Chavez De La Hoya fights? They had a trailer, but it then disappeared. Okay, I think Eva Longoria was going to be the director. I never even heard of that, bro. I never even heard of it. I'll have a look on YouTube if the trailer's still about. It's a weird fight. It's a weird series of fights to make a documentary or movie on, though. I know they were big fights, but like obviously Chavez was way past it and whatnot. But yeah, Chavez, he was another one, man. Chavez, man. Insane career. But anyway, guys, we've been going for over 2 hours, nearly 2.5 hours. I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up. But yeah, have a good weekend, guys. I'll try and get a couple more videos done. I'll do a post-fight review for Lee Wood and Mauricio Lara. That will definitely happen. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna chill for the rest of the evening. Got tomorrow off, so gonna chill, put my feet up, and yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Though enjoy the boxing, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.